Here's your host, Bill Lasky.
Welcome into a Wednesday night sports phone, KNBR, and it is another frustrating loss for the orange and black, and it comes down to hits again. The offense stymied again with only 5 hits in 10 innings, and this game really unraveled in the 9th inning when the Giants really could have won this game on 2 hits batsmen. Dominic Smith got hit and Casey Schmidt got hit on the wrist. We'll find out more details as the postgame continues to see what's going on with Casey Schmidt. But if you remember Casey Schmidt in 2023, he also had a left wrist fracture that took him out of the season. So let's hope that is not the case, because Casey Schmidt has been a big plus for the offense as well as the defense since Matt Chapman's been down. But it started with 2 hits batsmen, a walk by Jung-Hoo Lee, a sac fly by Adames that almost got out of the ballpark for a grand slam right to the wall. Had one earlier in the game, too. So it came down to Patrick Bailey in a 1-2 count. He battled, and he hit a base hit to left field. And Matt Williams once again sent the runner from second base to try to score. This time, Jung-Hoo Lee was hitting third base right when Kyle Stowers was picking up the ball. The throw was offline, but it was off-centered. Jung-Hoo Lee tried the best as he could to avoid the tag, and it wasn't even close. He was out. Patrick Bailey moves to second base. Koss hits a line drive out, and the inning was over, and the Giants had tied it. But these are things that we're now watching on Matt Williams. Matt Williams has done this too many times, and I think the question mark is, why is he continuing to try to push these runners across? There's been some plays that have been really, really out of the world with Devers the other night, and this one too with Jung-Hoo Lee. So we got to question some of the things that he's doing. Why is he continuing to try to push these runners across? This is the big question tonight. I'm going to throw out there 415-808-KNBR. Let's talk about the base running. Let's talk about Matt Williams. Is it time to possibly put the stop sign up? The Giants just are not hitting the ball, and I think that is the aggressiveness that Matt Williams is trying to do to try to force a bad throw, try to force an unseen error. It hasn't worked. It's been backfiring. And it unraveled in the 10th inning against Camilo Duvall as he ended up giving up 4 runs. Of course, the ghost runner getting one of them. He walked the leadoff hitter to Hicks. Stowers hit a fly ball to center field. Otto Lopez, this is the pitch that frustrates me. He had Otto Lopez on an 0-2 pitch. 0-2, he missed the slider. He went back to the slider, and Otto Lopez only made contact and hit a base hit. But an 0-2 pitch cannot be in the zone, and he got beat by it. Right after that, a double by Hernandez, a sac fly by Noe, and next thing you know, the Giants were down 8-4. 8-4 as they had a chance in that 9th to win it. They get one in the bottom of the 10th, but it just didn't mean much. This team is definitely hurting. They've lost 7 out of their last 10 games and now tied with San Diego for second place. So the question mark goes, what's going to happen if Casey Schmidt goes down? That is the big concern Giants fans as well as the players were, as he was very concerned playing third base in the 10th inning. He kept checking his wrist, came in the dugout, looked at the trainer. The trainer tried to hold it. He didn't want to touch it. I just wonder how bad that injury is going to be for him. And it's like I said, in 2023, the same thing happened to him where he got hit by a pitch and broke his wrist. On the other side, Logan Webb battled the entire game. He threw a gem also. 6 innings, 6 hits, only giving up 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. He was up there. This team, Miami, they just continue to fight. They had 11 hits yesterday, had 13 hits today, and they are just keep battling it against the Giants. This team, they're just on contact hitters with Tyler Rogers. A little loop ground ball to third base for a base hit, a little loop down the line. These things are just costing the Giants, and every time the Giants get behind, they can't catch up. But tonight, in the bottom of the 9th, they had an opportunity to win this game. Bailey got the base hit. They tried it at home. It just did not work. Looking forward to getting some calls going on this night's show, and let's see what you think of what's going on with the San Francisco Giants right now. Let's get to a couple calls right now as what's going on with the Giants. Let's go to Brent in Roseville. Brent, what's your thoughts on this game tonight?
Hey, how you doing? I have a couple thoughts, actually.
Fire away,
And
Brent. You're first on the list, and I'm waiting to hear them.
yeah, I believe, first of all, the underlying problem could be it's obviously hitting. Now, is Pat Burrell the problem? I know Damon Miner, and there's another coach as well. I believe they have 3 total batting coaches. And the guys we're paying to hit, who traditionally hit or who have in their career some of the bigger bats like Devers and Willie Dames and now Ramos, and they're not hitting. Okay? We had 5 hits tonight. So it brings me to the question.
Let me ask you this, Brent. Let me ask you this, Brent. Before you put blame, Brent, before you put blame on the coaching staff, I think you need to look at what the players are doing. And the players aren't getting better approaches. They're not changing their approach. They're not going the opposite way. Everybody wants to blame the coaches that are out there working their tail off. Let's look at what these hitters are doing. Let's look at what they have done in the past week where they've lost 7 out of 10 games. They only got 5 hits yesterday. They only got 5 hits today. The coach isn't up there hitting for them. They have to get better at the plate. And that's what I don't see. I don't see this out of this team so far in the last 10 games.
Yeah. And, well, that's a good point, and I agree. But, we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. I know I don't, unless you do.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, they're out there. I'm going to tell you right now, they're out there at 12, 1 o'clock working with these guys in the cages, looking at videos, looking at films on the field, extra batting practice. The extra batting practice isn't making these hitters adjust and hit better during the game. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. They have to get better. They have to approach the ball better. Cabrera threw a hell of a game against them tonight. He threw a hell of a game last time in Miami against them. The adjustments on the slider, the sinker, the curveball, the changeup, he threw 4 pitches equally tonight. So as hitters, you got to adjust to it. If you don't adjust it, try to pull it the other way, push it the other way, they just aren't hitting. And 2 nights in a row, only 5 hits out of the Giants in 2 nights. It's got to get better because now the ship is sinking and the offense is hurting this team. Let's go to Dennis in San Jose. Dennis, you're on Sport Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky. Talk to me about your thoughts on Matt Williams.
Bill, this is the thing. I was going to tell you this before you even talked, because everything you said is right. Matt Williams should have never sent him today home, and last night he should have never sent him either. Either time they got out by 5 feet easy. No way he should have sent him.
Last night he did Devers, Dennis. He sent Devers in a position there when the ball was down the line, and Devers got thrown out. Today, when you're reviewing that play, Jung-Hoo Lee was touching third base when Stowers was coming up to throw it. Even though the throw was offline, it had beat Jung-Hoo Lee to the plate.
Yeah.
And a great catch by the catcher diving into the play and tagging Jung-Hoo Lee. It was a bang-bang play, but at that time, there was no way Jung-Hoo Lee was going to get in. He tried to avoid the tag. There was no opportunity to even get a hand.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Bill. I say the same thing. No way he should have sent him. He should never send him. The game might have been different. And then
I think, Dennis, we talked about this last night. Bob Melvin talked about with Devers. He's just saying we're not hitting. We got to get aggressive base running. We got to try it. Matt Williams is trying to force the runner in. Tonight, I just didn't think that was the right call. He could have held him up. It would have been second or first and third. With only 1 out, and who knows what happens in that scenario. He tried it. He pushed it. It failed. The Giants ended up tying the game, and there was an opportunity to win it in the bottom of the 9th, and it just wasn't. And it was a frustrating loss again for the Giants. Let's go out to Tiburon and talk to the Tiburon crew. He was at the game tonight. Talk to me, my friend.
What's up, Bill? Yeah, we driving home with the family here. It's we're watching this. The frustration's ridiculous. First off, 5 hits. The first hit of the game, it's a home run. We're doing that, yada, yada, yada. That's great. And then 5, the next hit doesn't come to the 5th inning. These guys don't – it's not that they're just, not hitting the ball. I'll give Adames drove the ball tonight. But everyone else, a lot of them, Jung-Hoo Lee, all these guys are striking out. They just have a terrible approach. It's an absolutely
Yeah,
terrible
Jung-Hoo
throw.
Lee really didn't hurt himself tonight. Jung-Hoo Lee got hit by a pitch, a couple walks with a punch out. Casey Schmidt punched out twice on one opportunity where he could have got a hit in. Fly ball to right field
Dom
in the
Smith.
sixth inning. They did have an opportunity in the sixth inning when it was second and third, and two fly balls and a strikeout, and that was the killer in the sixth inning. In the fifth inning, a walk and a base hit, a sack by Bailey, a sack fly by Koss, and a grounder to Yaz. Opportunities, but you're absolutely right. They never got a hit until the fifth inning. After Yaz got the home run. That was frustrating for everybody. There was just no excitement on the bases. One hit by pitch, a walk. And it didn't continue. They didn't do anything in the seventh inning, the eighth inning, 3 up, 3 down, and then in the ninth inning, a couple hit batsmen and a walk. What did you think about the play where Matt Williams sent Jung-Hoo Lee? You were watching it at the ballpark. Was it a good
angle.
call by Matt Williams, or what did you think?
No. That play was an obvious call from where we were sitting. We were sitting right above that play, so I could see it the whole angle. Absolutely a terrible call. And the problem was there's only one out. I mean, there's only one out. You might as well let the next guy try to get a sack fly or something. You don't send him in that case. I think that my
and last night, Tiburon Crew, last night, the same thing happened with Devers. Devers got thrown out from a play where it went deep in the corner, and he got thrown out from the left field, the shortstop to the catcher, and today he pushed it again. I did the post game last night. Bob Melvin came on in the post game, said, no, I'm glad that Matt Williams was aggressive in that play because we're just not hitting the ball. Tonight, I can't see that either. I thought he should have held him and pushed it. It tied the game. The game was tied. Now you got to try to win it with a base hit, and they didn't have a chance after that.
And Costa's hit in that ninth inning would have been that line drive he hit. Those guys would have had to play in. So that hit would have been a hit to the left field. There's no way that guy would have been standing on third base at that point. He would have driven that ball into left field. There's no way. And because they would have had to play in, the guy would have been first and third. It would have been an obvious hit. It would have been very easy. Walk off. But
it would have been totally different when you had first and third then. Tiburon Crew would have been first and third with one out. Everything changes right there. The winning run is at third base. Who knows if he could have laid a bunt down. There's so many different ways you could have scored. A deep fly ball even. But I think Matt Williams was to blame today. I think he tried to push it, and it failed, and it backfired on him.
And the other thing, the only other thing I want to say is cumulative all. This guy, if he doesn't throw strikes, it's like you need to get a quick hook on this guy. Yes, he looks good every once in a while. Like, he looks good. There's points. But there's other points that he's just terrible. It's so obvious when you're watching him, and he's not throwing strikes. And that slider is going
the one pitch Tiburon Crew that I'm upset about, he had Otto Lopez 0-2, and he could have gone fastball up. He could have thrown a fastball in. He went back to the slider, and all Otto Lopez would make contact and put it out to right center field for a base hit. That was the pitch that upset me in that 10th inning. He had him by the ropes. He had a fly ball. He had first and third with one out. He punches him out or gets a weak ground ball. He's out of that inning. But he goes after him with that slider, and I think the slider is throwing too much. He's got to go to 101, 100 fastball, and he's all of a sudden not throwing a fastball again. He did this last year when he got in trouble.
Yeah, he should have thrown a high fastball, exactly, and the guy would have swung under it, I guarantee it. The guy was not having a good at-bat. But, yeah, we gave him a strike, 0-2, to lose the game. The whole thing is it's just not good. It's
yeah, it just magnified.
And I go,
after
you know
that.
what? I'd have put him back in the seventh inning with Rodriguez came in. I would have put it in. I literally cry for Webb. That guy gets no run support. He goes in there. He goes 6 innings. He gives up 2 runs. He's every day strikes out 6. It's like
he battled today too. He didn't have his great stuff. He went to his changeup more than anything. He went changeup heavy with 41 pitchers, sinkers at 33. So we'll find out if they can snap out of it, Tiburon Crew, but have a safe drive home. Let's go to Pete on the peninsula. Pete, you're on with Bill Lasky on Sports Phone KNBR. What'd you think of the game today? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Williams is trying to push it because they're not hitting. That's what I think with that. Also with the ball. Who's calling his pitches? Is he calling them? Is Bailey calling him? Is it
Well,
coming from the
Bailey's
dugout?
calling him. He has Bailey's calling him. Pete Bailey's calling him, but Duvall can shake him off. He shook off a lot, but I wish he'd go fastball a little bit more. He's thrown 99 to 100, and it seems like it's always slider, then a fastball, slider, then a fastball. I'm disappointed that he's not using his fastball more.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. I think Krug said it after the game. They put the ball in play. The Giants aren't putting the ball in play. They haven't been putting the ball in play for almost 3 years, and I think
we've been having that problem for a long time. Too many strikeouts, 7 strikeouts tonight, and a lot of times with runners in scoring position. That's been the makeup. They have to do something different here to score more runs. But, Pete, thanks for the call. All right, we got a lot of callers on hold. We'll come right back. We're going to take a quick break. My name's Bill Lasky. This is Sports Phone KNBR 415-808-KNBR. Get on the phone lines. Let's hear what you have to say about tonight's game and what's happening with this Giants. They are sliding in the month of June here. They've lost 7 out of 10. We'll be right back right here on Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
1-2. Bailey lines it in the left field, base hit. Lee coming to third, they're going to send him. The throw from Stowers. Lee will be out at the plate. Fortes took the throw and lunged back and got Jung-Hoo Lee as he tried to evade the tag. The Giants have tied the game on the hit by Bailey. Matt Williams definitely took a gamble there. Now the part of the gamble, Bailey on the throw was able to go to second. So you do still have the winning run in scoring position. Stowers was playing so shallow, he was hardly out of the infield. And so his throw was offline, but Fortes came back and definitely tagged out Lee as he tried to go inside and get to the plate.
Look, we're trying to win a game there, and give him credit. In left field, charge. It wasn't hit that deep, and he charged hard to get it. Had to get it perfectly and make a good throw. So, look, we're trying to win a game there.
Back on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky. One of the things, if you listen to how Dave Fleming explained that play, Stowers was not playing deep. He was shallow in left field. So it was quicker for him to get to the ball that Bailey hit. And Bailey hit a pretty good ball to left field. He came up throwing, and the ball was offline. If you go back and replay this, Jung-Hoo Lee was touching third base right when Stowers was throwing it. So it was a gamble, and the gamble didn't work once again. Talked about it last night on Sports Phone KNBR when Devers was thrown out at home plate. Matt Williams is really winging these guys in, and it's not working. Bob Melvin, of course, is talking about him, saying, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to win a game. The good news tonight, after the postgame, some reports are coming out. Casey Schmidt had x-rays on his left wrist. It is negative. It's very sore, as he said. They're going to do some more tests tomorrow, but that's going to be a big hole now that Matt Chapman still isn't ready to come back and play third. So we might see somebody else coming up from AAA. But a bad play right there. It was a bad decision by Matt Williams. It could have been first and third with one out, and the Giants had an opportunity to win it in some different way with Christian Koss. Let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go to Aaron. Aaron, you're on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky. What'd you think of the game today? Are you there, Aaron?
Hey, yeah, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, love you, Bill. It's more of a big picture kind of a thing. I'll make it quick.
Sure.
I just wanted to make two statements. One is just that it seems like maybe it's just me, but the opponents seem to have more luck with home runs than we do, especially at home. And
it seems that way, doesn't it, Aaron? It seems like they're just hitting balls out all the time, and the Giants end up hitting them on the warning track. Today, Willie Adames had two of them like that. It is true. It seems that way. It seems like these guys come in pushing balls out of the yard all the time. The Giants have always had problems hitting home runs at Oracle Park. That is one big flaw they've always had there.
Yeah, and the only thing I can come up with is if it's psychological.
I don't think it's psychological. You can't put that on that. It's a lot of balls like I just said on the warning track, balls that carry, they don't go out. They just don't have many home run hitters. Also, that's the other thing you got to look at. A lot of these guys are not home run hitters. Devers is. We haven't really seen Rafael get hot yet. Ever since he came over when he played against the Guardians, I'm seeing a lot of ground ball outs, a lot of first pitch swinging. I think he's got to be a little more patient because the Giants need him to get on base and drive in runs, and his at-bats are stale right now in my eyes.
No doubt. Yep.
Well, thanks for the call, Aaron. I appreciate it. I got a full board, Aaron. Let's go to Brian in San Ramon. Brian, you're on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky. Were you at the game? Were you watching the game? What'd you think of it?
First of all, I love listening to you. Love your insight about the game. It's awesome to hear on my drive homes.
I appreciate it,
actually
Brian.
didn't get to watch the game today. I was working, followed along on the ESPN app, but unfortunate. I just wanted to come and not to
not the best take, but I kind of want to defend Matt Williams a little bit because 2 weeks ago, everybody was saying the opposite, that he needed to be more risky because of our offense. And so
he's in a hot seat, isn't he, Brian? You can't win or you can't lose, right? I mean,
Exactly.
when you talk to Tim Flannery, you talk to Ron Wotus, you talk to Jimmy Davenport, they're so quick of reactions, and you got to make those reactions so fast. And sometimes you just do it. You just react that way. Send them. Tonight, I thought he was over-aggressive. I really did, because it would have been first and third with one out. He tried it. He pushed it. Bob Melvin, said, hey, that's what we're trying to do, win a game. I don't think he saw how shallow Stowers were, because Stowers was in. He wasn't deep. He wasn't even an average. He was in more. And I think that's what cost him. The throw was offline, but he got a good throw where it was deep enough and hard enough where the catcher caught it and then went back into the line and got Jung-Hoo Lee, who was trying to avoid the tag. It was a bang-bang play. It wasn't that big of a play. It wasn't a tight play, but it was a risky play.
Yeah, definitely was. And, I mean, it's unfortunate, especially to go back-to-back nights having essentially the same issue. I don't think we should ever send Devers to try to leg one out. But
that's just like trying to send Wilmer Flores, too. Both of those guys are risk takers when they round third if there is going to be a play at the plate. Today, Jung-Hoo Lee was quick, but he was just touching third base when Stowers picked up the ball, and I thought that was a risk taker tonight. What happens if he slides and they win? What happens if the catcher misses it? Then we're talking a whole different situation tonight.
Exactly. Other final point, and I'll take your response off of the air, off the call. I think I heard FP Santangelo say a week or two ago that when he was in the minors, one of his favorite sayings that he had from one of his managers was, instead of trying hard, we need to try easy. And I think that's a problem with the Giants lineup, is that everybody's trying to play hero ball because everybody's down an average this year. So everybody's trying to be that hero, and I think we just need to take it easy and just go back to basics and just
it's a great comment. It's really a great comment, Brian. It is, and I think what FP is trying to do is relax. Try to take every at bat just to try to get a base hit. Don't try to hit the home run or drive the ball in the gaps. I just want this team to make better contact. They're just not making good contact, especially with runners in scoring position. And I think that was the quote that FP was like, relax, take it easy, try to make contact. Just don't, stress out so much and put pressure on yourself. So, you know what? You can say all the quotes you have, but the batter has to go up and make contact. And I just want to see better contact. I want to see the ball in play more. But thanks for the call, Brian. Let's go to Rich. He was at the game. Rich, what did you see in that bottom of the ninth inning? Was it a good call? Was it a good relay? Was it a good move by Matt Williams by sending him?
Hey, Bill. Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm a first-time caller. I love listening to your show.
Oh, great. Appreciate it, Rich.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that it was a correct call. At home was a correct call, of course. I think that, as a caller said before people were challenging us, why wasn't he sending people home? And now people are being sent home, trying to make it. If you think about it, if they don't send them home, what's the odds that the next batter's going to get a hit versus what are the odds that something goes wrong on the way home?
Last night with Devers, last night, Rich, the Devers play was not right. Rafael Devers is got a little groin issue. He tried to push it, but tonight I thought he could have held him up. I really did. It was a bang-bang throw at home. Sure, he had to avoid the tag. But today it would have been first and third with one out. Things can happen with Christopher Koss. A fly ball, a deep fly ball, a sac fly. He had one earlier, a bunt. There was other ways you could have manufactured that winning run. Today, I think he was over-aggressive. Now, you just like the caller said, 2 weeks ago, we were complaining because he wasn't. when you go back, and Tim Flannery's one of my best friends, it's a hot seat. It's really what you're directing. You're the director at third base. You're telling the runners what you got to do. The runner doesn't look at the hitter or the ball. The runner is watching the third base coach. If he's got the windmill arm going, you got to go. You don't stop and question him. Tonight, I think he was a little over-aggressive. I think they could have held him and gone for one more play with Koss at the plate.
If they do send, the one thing you have to think about, especially with Devers, is you don't want him getting injured, right? I mean, yeah, it might be a play might come up. Devers you have the hamstring. But I wanted to ask you another question. That was basically, do you know, or can you share what the philosophy is around mental training with the Giants? Because it just seems like with the batters, when it's across the board that there's challenges and people are slumping, and it seems like sometimes with the batters going up, you look at them and it doesn't look like they have the biggest confidence or the greatest confidence. And I just know that mental trainers in the past have been such a great thing for helping people work through these and have the confidence. And, you know, when people are doing great, they swing great. And when they're doing bad and get down, they kind of come back defensive. So do you have...
Yeah, Rich, I think a lot of the body language is what you look at. I think the body language of hitters when they strike out or if an umpire calls a bad pitch, the eyes roll, the body language from the hitters. Pitchers do it. Logan Webb did it several times tonight where he rolls his eyes where he thought it was a strike. Those are just game-in situations. It's not mental approach. But I understand what you're saying. If a guy's in a slump, yeah, they have coaches. They have all kind of help for all these players. They have a list of different doctors and different things if somebody is in a slump. They do protect their hitters. They do have pitchers and hitting meetings. But, you know, I think what you're looking for is what you see on the field when you're seeing the nonverbals and the disgusted looks and the dragging of the bat, things like that. And that's just gameplay. That's just a hitter frustrated or a pitcher frustrated, and you see their reaction to it. So good call, though, Rich. Good stuff. Let's go out to Hawaii and talk to Oscar. Oscar, you're on a late-night sports phone KNBR with Bill Lasky. Hope you're well.
Hey, hi, Bill. This is Bert.
Oh, how are you, man? They had you down as Oscar. I'm like, oh, I got a new guy in Hawaii now. You're hiding your name on me. Okay.
No, I don't know what happened there. Okay, but hey, I agree with you, Matt Williams, today. I mean, that was very bad. I mean, I can't believe that. I mean,
yeah, that was I think to me it was like a panic mood. He wanted to make that play to be the winning run. I still think this bird is. He never looked how deep Stowers was, and Stowers was playing in. He wasn't playing deep. And that ball Bailey hit going to left field, that had a little thump on it, and it got to him pretty quick. Yeah. When you time it, when you look at that play, try to time it, Stowers was picking up the ball, and Jung-Hoo Lee had just rounded the bag. That, to me, right there shows me it was an aggressive call by Matt Williams. It backfired. They could have won the game. They didn't, and it's just frustrating more because everybody's looking at that play as the play of the night instead of looking at the first 8 innings when the Giants could only have one hit through 5 innings. It's frustrating because the Giants just aren't hitting. They hit really well against Boston, and against Miami, they got 10 hits in 2 games.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Matt Williams, I love Matt Williams. He's a former Giant, and was always a good player.
One of my best friends. And I would never question him. But as an analyst, as a fan, we're watching it. Sometimes you say, hey, good move. Boy, it was risky. Today, I think he could have held him and tried to see what Koss would do in the next batter.
But him being a baseball player, he gotta know the situation. I mean, it's like you said, first and third, 1 out kind of situation. Why you take a gamble like that? And you every play is different. So you might be sending them 10 times in a row. You might be holding them up every other. I mean, every situation. So you gotta take a look at what's happening. So you're just kind of panicking, I think, and that's kind of
and some of it is just risk. Here's my risk. I'm going to send him. I'm going to see if we can score, see if we can win this game. It backfired today. Yesterday with Devers, it wasn't really a big risk. I think he was just trying to push it to see if there'd be a good throw. This Miami team's been playing the Giants really well. They played them 3 tough games in Miami, and they took the first 2 games of this series. I got 11 hits yesterday, 13 hits today. There's some bangers in this lineup, and when you look at 6, 7, and 8, they had 3 hits, 2 hits, 2 hits, 4 RBIs, 3 RBIs by Otto Lopez. They can thump a little bit, and the Giants pitchers have been beat up a little bit in this series.
More quick thoughts. Duvall, I like Duvall. I like Duvall. The thing is, when I heard that he didn't pitch in 4 days, Duvall needs to pitch. He can't sit out for 4 days and not pitch. That's why he had problems today. Other thoughts.
Yeah, but there was no place to put him. That was the thing, though. That was the problem. You didn't have anybody anywhere you could have just had him throw an inning. That was the big issue there. What I don't like, what I saw, the 0-2 mistake to Lopez. I mean, he had 1 out. That could have been a second out. He could have battled out of the inning, but he just threw another slider, and he got it up a little bit. Lopez hit it to right center field. If he would have come back with a fastball, an elevated fastball, or something down in the zone, maybe he gets a swing through. But an 0-2 mistake in the 10th inning was huge at that point.
Yeah, and a couple other things. The hitters, Giants, their hitters are not good, and that's the bottom line. It's been like this for 3 years, so. I mean,
they've been inconsistent. There's some times where they have been good, but the inconsistencies are showing now when you only get 10 hits in 2 games. Miami's thrown a couple good starting pitchers, no question. Their bullpen has shut them out. But some of these at-bats, when they get runners in scoring position, Bert, you and I have talked about this several times. Too many strikeouts, too many weak ground balls, and the approach has got to change if they're going to try to win. And this hitting has to get this team back in the fold. They're now 44-36. But thanks for the call again, Bert. Appreciate your time. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more calls. Also, I have Brooke Knudsen coming on. We're going to talk to him a little bit in a while, but we're going to take these calls and continue to talk on a Wednesday night Sports Phone KNBR. I'm Bill Lasky. We're going to have more coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
one. Deep left field. Stowers at the wall to catch it up against the wall. Tagging from third is Smith. He'll come in and score. Tagging from second is Schmidt. He goes to third and slides in. Adames, oh, so close to a game ender. The Giants get a run. It's 4-3.
All right, back on Sports Phone KNBR. Dave Fleming talking about that ball. Willie Adames hit with bases loaded, hit all the way out to left field. The ballpark was standing. Everybody was watching it at home. We all thought it might have been a grand slam. Stowers catches it at the wall. It's a sac fly. It gets them one behind. Of course, they score another one when Bailey gets the base hit. And I was watching a replay during the break. Jung-Hoo Lee wasn't even halfway down the line when the catcher caught the ball. So it was a quick send by Matt Williams. Risky, no question, and it failed, and the Giants end up losing in the 10th inning as Camilo Duvall gives up 4 runs, 3 earned, and the Giants end up losing this one 8-5. They're now 3-5 on this 9-game homestand with one more game left. And if you look at the schedule, the Giants have been playing, starting with Miami, 16 straight games. 16 straight. They're playing 3 against Miami, 3 against the White Sox, 4 against Arizona, 3 against the Athletics, 3 against Philadelphia before they get a day off on July 10th. So this team is getting hurt, and they're pitching. The bullpen's starting to give up runs. We're hoping that Casey Schmidt's injury is not a prolonged injury. The x-rays were negative. It's still hurting. It's still sore. We'll find out more tests tomorrow when the Giants play the day game. All right, let's go to Steve in Bend, Oregon. Steve, you're on with Bill Lasky on KNBR. How are you tonight?
Doing great, Bill. Thanks for taking my call, and I'll be quick because I know you have a lot of callers coming up. This is a different deal with Duvall. Usually when he's having a bad night, he'll get behind, 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, foul, and bing, they'll get a hit. But he'll always get out of the inning with 99-mile-an-hour sinker, 101-mile-an-hour fastball. Now we're seeing 2 strikes on hitters, and he continues, as you said, to go with that slider, and they're diving out there. He doesn't pitch inside to back him off. He owns the plate as much as they do, and he just serves up these sliders, and I think granted, he hasn't pitched in 4 days. I just think the man's lost his tenacity.
Yeah, I look at that. Steve, I look at that, and I'm saying to myself, no, he was not overamped. When you're overamped, it's like when Walker came in and the ball's moving all different places because you're throwing it too hard. I just don't think he used his fastball enough tonight. He had opportunities to blow some people away, and he went back to slider. He shook off Bailey a few times, and I'm like, what are you shaking off for? What are you looking for to throw? He hasn't thrown that sinker much either, and you're talking about backing off a right-hander. That's that pitch that gets in there, and I haven't seen much of that either. All right, Steve, appreciate your call, and he's absolutely right. Steve and I were talking about what Duvall is throwing in his arsenal, and he's back to throwing a lot of sliders. And it's a good slider, but you need something else to back it up. You need a good fastball, then you can go back to slider. He had Otto Lopez with a fastball in. He threw a nice slider. Otto Lopez didn't even come close to it, and he went back to it, and he didn't throw it far enough off the plate. If he got that off the plate, he might have got a little pop up to second, but it was too much of the plate. It was too good of an 0-2 pitch, and Otto Lopez, all he did was serve it up to right center field and get that key hit in the 10th inning. Let's go to Jonathan. Jonathan, you were at the game tonight. How are you doing on a Wednesday night?
Hi, Bill. I couldn't be better. I've talked to you a few times since, but it was a year ago that I called you on the night the Giants honored Willie Mays and the Florida Panthers won their first Stanley Cup. Here we are a year later.
I do remember you. I do remember that call.
Yeah. If you had told me a year later the Panthers would win again and the Marlins would take the first 2 at Oracle, I wouldn't have believed you. This is unbelievable, and this is one of the best months I've ever had.
Well, you're a big Marlin fan too, Jonathan. That's the key here. And this Marlin team, Jonathan, they come up to hit. They put the ball in play. They're young. They're aggressive. They steal bags. They have over 60 stolen bases. Why are they losing so much? They're under 500. What's going on? What do you see that we're not seeing?
I don't know. They lost another series to the A's at home, even though, given that they're not here anymore, it was almost nonchalant to me. It was the series against the Giants at home that I really got a closer look at them, because I don't get to see most of the games when they're not playing the Giants. I can't afford extra innings or MLB.TV. So that was my first look at them. I still haven't gotten back to South Florida in a couple of years, and I didn't recognize except for
Jonathan. That series, there wasn't any kind of offense. The Giants won 2-0. They lost 1-0, and won the last one 4-2. This series, man, Miami 11 hits yesterday. They scored 4 tonight. 13 hits, 8 runs. They're just going up there looking for balls, going the opposite way. A very aggressive young team, and I keep throwing it out there. They don't strike out a lot.
Yeah, I was waiting to see, are they going to show up this year, because they've just been quiet most of the year, and I don't know if it was the magic of what the Panthers just did again and exciting the South Florida community or what, but it's like after the parade, or really after the day of the parade, they played at home and then flew out here, and it's like they finally got inspired. And I just wanted to see them win, because I grew up out there and I'm a huge fan. But coming off the Panthers, wow.
That was a great Stanley Cup, boy. There was some great exciting games, and they get to hoist the trophy up again. And Jonathan, you're a happy man. I appreciate the call. Let's see what happens with the Marlins if they stay hot. They got a lot of young talent. We don't know if they'll trade some of this talent and see what they build. But so far, they've beaten the Giants 2 games of the first 2 games of a 3-game series at Oracle. And I hope you're enjoying it, Jonathan, because I know you love your Marlins. All right, let's go to Big Sam. He was at the game. Tell me, Sam, a little bit of your thoughts of the game from the first pitch to the last out.
Bill, thank you for taking the call. And, we had a nice about 40, 50 of us, some church kids, and it was a nice group, and, some young, some like chaperone-like people. And we were vibing. It was a really good time. It was a good crowd. Logan, I felt, struggled a little bit, but finally got in his rhythm. I really think that, each time I'm like, for Logan. Every time I've gone to the game, he's
I think he's feeling the same way. He's feeling like no run support, and they ended up getting 2 runs for him, and they had an opportunity to score a couple more by getting 2 men on base when Devers got a walk and Ramos got a base hit. And he had just got done pitching the top of the 6th inning. I know he was thinking the same thing I was. Come on, somebody get a key hit. Give me another W. Give me another run. And it didn't prevail. But what'd you think of that 9th inning? A couple hit by pitch. A lot of post-game remarks coming in about Giants pitchers not protecting their own. Not talking about maybe these pitchers are throwing at our hitters. But somehow, some way, something's going to happen because the Giants pitchers are going to have to protect their own sooner or later.
And you make a really good point. And I out of frustration, I kind of said around I was, I usually sit behind third base line, and I said, you know what? These are some of the reasons why this team will be at home on the couch in October, because they keep losing these 2-1, 3-2, 4-2 games. And I really think that, once Tyler Rogers got those, second and third, I said, a little uh-oh. And then, a lot of moans and groans. But then he got the 2 outs. And then we were right there. I jumped, when Adonis hit that, I'm like, back 2 separate
I think everybody
innings.
did.
He almost sent us home.
Even the announcers, even Kipe and Dave Fleming, they both were ready to call a grand slam. When he hit it, he thought he hit it, and he hit another one that was deep in the 7th inning that they caught right at the fence, too. He missed a couple by a few feet, and those 3 feet cost him the game.
Critical. And just, a couple things to wrap it up, Bill. You played at all high levels. You're a pro, and you're post-retirement. You've coached. You still coach. something's got to give with some of the hitting. That's one aspect. Someone's got to get, and I know Barry's doing what he can, and Paparella does a really good job of hitting. That's one aspect. The second aspect, and I know after this series, and they better get their act together against Chicago, the White Sox. It would not surprise me, and it would be far from the truth. It would not surprise me if Buster Posey pulled another plug, made another acquisition, and possibly tried to move Camilo Duvall while he has the current value that he has. Always a pleasure, Bill. Hope to see you soon at Westlake Joe's, my man.
Yes, sir, Big Sam. We got to make that happen, buddy. Around the All-Star break, we'll definitely hook up on that one and have a nice lunch or dinner.
Happen.
We will talk Giants baseball for the whole night, because I know you and I love it, and we love talking baseball. And I appreciate your call on a late night and a good time at the ballpark. I wish you would have got a win tonight. We'd have been talking differently. But, Sam, you take care of yourself. It's a pleasure always talking to you. All right, we're going to take a quick break and bring my buddy on, Brooks Knudsen, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this game, more about the Giants' struggles, and we're going to see what Brooks has to say. That's coming up next right here on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lesky.
Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
0-1 pitch. Johnson hits a pop-up, shallow left center. Back goes Lopez, and he'll catch it. The game is over. So for the Giants, an extraordinarily disappointing loss after a rally in the ninth inning, and hopefully not a loss that turns into something much, much worse. Bob Melvin's talking to Casey in the dugout, and Casey looks like something really is wrong. So we can only hope that maybe the x-rays give us something better than the body language is given right now.
All right, back on KNBR with Bill Lasky. The body language was right. The injury is with Casey Schmidt. It is not broken. X-rays are negative. They're going to do some more tests tomorrow. In 2023, if you remember it, Casey Schmidt broke his left wrist on a pitch also that he was hit on. So hopefully this will be a couple days, but in the long run, when you're looking at what he was doing at third base in that 10th inning, he was rubbing it. He was trying to take the pain away from it. It just didn't look good, and all the nonverbals when he came into the dugout, boy, oh boy, there was some pain in that left wrist. Let's hope for the best for Casey Schmidt. My guest tonight, the PPP. It's called the Pitchers Park Pod. My guest, Brooke Knudsen, works with Jeff Young, and he does a great podcast. Let's bring him in. Brooks, how are you this evening?
Hey, Bill. How you doing? Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could have been better. I mean, again, 2 nights in a row, Brooks, they've only got 5 hits, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're losing against Miami. Miami's coming out with 11 hits, 13 hits. They're banging the ball to left field, center field, in the gaps, and the Giants' bats are just stale. What have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at 2 different clubs, right? We got the Marlins, who are like kind of playing carefree out there. They're not afraid to take the extra base, and it kind of burned them a couple times tonight. They got thrown out at third a few times, but they're kind of playing with that nothing to lose. They know where they are in the standings. They know they have a bunch of monsters in their division, and they're just trying to play the game, just the players. They don't care. They just want to win. They want to see what they can do. The Giants right now are in the middle of this kind of weird 10-game stretch. They've dropped 7 out of 10. Rafi Devers is here, big parade of excitement, but it kind of fell flat right after that. And they're playing a little tight right now, I think, the Giants. They're not stringing together the hits. They're not kind of waiting for the next man up to knock them in. They're trying to do too much, I think. So, yeah, that's why they're losing, I think.
Yeah, Brooks, you look at that Sunday game, that Red Sox game, 3 home runs, everything was going well, double-digit hits. They get the day off, and it was a whole different offensive team last night, and the same today. Yastrzemski leads off with a home run tonight. I think all Giants fans are going, okay, here we go, let's get it going. And then they don't get a hit till the 5th inning, and the bats just went dead. A hit by pitch, a walk, nothing to get any kind of offense going. And, Kruk and Kipe, Dave Fleming both said it on radio and TV. The crowd is out of it, 31,000 fans, and they had nothing to cheer about.
Yeah, I don't know what's with night games at Oracle Park, Bill. It's just like we saw it with Adames tonight, 2 balls that seemingly were crushed, and none more crazier than the would-be almost grand slam that was caught at the wall. That would have been a much different conversation tonight between you and me.
Sure.
But for some reason, I don't know, the cold – I know it's late June, but, it gets chilly at the yard, of course. They're not too far from Candlestick, right? And they just aren't hitting the way the Marlins are up there. They're just poking the ball. They're what they did against Tyler Rogers, just put the ball in play. So, I don't know, are the Giants just trying to crush the ball too hard in night games? Worked for them in the day game. They were able to hit the bombs. But here they are, swinging too hard, maybe. I don't know.
Brooks, let me throw this question to you. Logan Webb talked about it on the post-game show, saying their pitchers need to protect their players a little bit more. Nobody's really thrown inside. Nobody's really hit anybody to retaliate. I'm looking back in my day. You hit one of us, we're hitting one of you. That's how we all grew up. As pitchers, when somebody throw underneath a chin, you were expected to throw under somebody else's chin. The game has changed, no question. We're talking 30, 40 years ago. But don't you think that something has to happen? Some of these guys are Ramos is really the one that I'm kind of worried about. He's been hit more than anybody. And then tonight, Casey Schmidt got drilled, and that really set off a fire with him as well as the whole dugout. And, what are they going to do? How can they manage this?
Yeah, I saw those comments. Bob was talking about it, and it's almost like, what are you going to do the next day? You're going to fire one, hit someone in the backside, and say, hey, this is for the last couple times, this is for last night. But, I mean, at that point, what does that even do, Bill? I mean, when you talked about it, when you were playing, was it like instantaneous, like the very next inning, one of your pitchers was drilling the guy? Yeah.
First hitter, first hitter, didn't matter. And you had your own in your clubhouse that, respected you to do it. And they respected you to guard them. It happened a lot. And I would be walking out to the mound sometimes, and the outfield or infield, Darrell Evans used to come out, hit the first guy.
Right.
Hackman, hit the first guy. And it didn't matter who it was. You had to hit the first guy. And that was the respect you had. Now, that's a whole different game, Brooks. That's a whole different game than what it is now. And there was headhunting back then. There was guys throwing at guys' heads. There was a whole different array of pitching and protecting your team. But now you hit one guy, warnings go out, you try to hit another guy, boom, 3 days suspension. It has changed to protect the players. But how can you stop this when you're getting your guys drilled once, twice, 3 times a game?
Right, and you don't want to get at the plate and be worried about getting, I don't want to crowd too much. Justin Turner always gets hit all the time because he's right on top of the plate, right? You don't want to be worried about any of that stuff. And these are 2 types of hit by pitches that happen. You got everything that happened with the Padres with Suarez. He just got suspended for a few games, right? That's intentional stuff. The Dodgers guy hitting everybody. So this is different. A Marlins pitcher completely losing the control in the 9th inning in a tight game is not intentional at all. He doesn't know where the ball's going, and that's why they're mad. They're saying this is dangerous. They're going to hit us. You're throwing up and in. Casey Schmidt, let's hope that he doesn't miss much time, but it could happen, right? We'll see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, they're just mad because it's happening, but there's no ill intent. That's just from my vantage point.
Yeah, Bob Melvin said that too. He didn't feel there was anything intense in any of these, and even Logan Webb said it. You and I are both talking about the same comments, and but in the end, you have to protect your own. I don't care what happens. You saw it as you talked about the Padres and the Dodgers. Giants don't throw in enough. I don't believe they do, and I think they need to start doing that a little bit more.
Yeah, and better to start right away tomorrow, get one in tomorrow before heading out to Chicago White Sox. And that might be another club that has a bunch of pitchers that are are they AAA guys? Are they MLB guys? They might not have their best stuff. They might not know where it's going either. So you got to watch out for pitchers that don't know how to keep the ball hitting the mitt. So that's something to watch out for.
That voice you hear on Sportsphone KNBR is Brooke Knudsen. You can follow him on X at Brooks, KNUDSEN. Does a great job analyzing the games, and he does a great podcast with my other good friend Jeff Young. It's called the Pitchers Park Pod, PPP. Take a listen to it. They really dissect into a lot of the pitchers. Let's just talk a little bit about pitching today. Logan Webb didn't have his great stuff, got through it. And he used his changeup more than anything, which kind of surprised me. Through 41 changeups, 33 sinkers, and everything else was just a handful of pitches. What did you see out of him tonight?
I did see some hard contact, 112 off the wall in right field. Kyle Stowers had his number, I think.
Oh, he did.
And then later, Tyler Rogers completely made him look silly because I think he was locked in on Logan's movement. But yeah, for Webb specifically, I've felt like balls that he normally would be throwing, burying in the dirt were not. They were staying around knee high. And with that movement, when you can time it and you can scoop it like that with the barrel, where otherwise it's just going right in the dirt and you're swinging over it, strike three, that kind of thing. I think that's what got him into trouble a little bit. The walks were, he mentioned it, a little uncharacteristic for him, of course. But, we're still talking about Logan Webb on a, not his best night is still quality start, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. I mean, that's, this is the same story we've been talking about all year, is get this guy, just a couple runs, a couple more than a couple runs, and you definitely got the win. So, yeah, it's just.
Yeah, he's had a great month of June. 5 starts, 2-0, a little over a 1.7 earned run average. When you look at, he had 3 walks tonight. He only had 3 walks the whole month of June. So you're talking about 6 walks with 36 strikeouts. That's a pretty damn good month. But he's only got 2 wins out of 5 starts. The guy I want to talk about is Randy Rodriguez. The numbers at Oracle Park are just unbelievable this year. 20 innings pitched, 10 hits, 30 strikeouts, and he hasn't given up a run. He was another magnificent game tonight, punching out 2, only giving up a hit. He's been so consistent. Do you see him as an all-star this year, maybe?
Yeah, I would like to think that you could see Randy over there in Atlanta for the Midsummer Classic, but at the same time, the Giants have quite a bit of other candidates. You got Robbie Ray, Logan Webb, and then, of course, Rafi Devers is already going to be out there. But it might be tough to get someone like Randy who isn't a, actual closer. They get the most recognition most of the time. And that, I don't know if this is segueing into anything, but, man, after seeing what Camilo, didn't have his stuff tonight, and Randy, of course, was nails. I don't know if Bill, is it the 9th inning? Obviously it was the 10th inning tonight for Camilo, but is it like the 9th that gets guys,
it's a different animal.
Out of sorts?
Yeah. Brooks, it's a different mindset. And when you start thinking, and we can go back to that Colorado game when Randy was trying to get that save, he didn't pitch like he did. He looked tense. He looked stressed. And even guys came in, if you remember Chapman and Adames came in, Adames was patting him on the back saying, relax. I mean, you could see it in his body language. You could see how tense he was. And and you start thinking about it more than just going out there and saying, it's another inning. That's what's good about closers. Some closers can do it. Some of them think about it, and you start aiming. And he was uncharacteristic that game. He walked guys. And it just backfired on him. I think he's more of a setup guy now, this year, and maybe work him into the closer. I just think Camilo Duvall today, I don't think he threw enough fastballs. He was throwing sliders every other pitch.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you're saying. I think I like guys in their position they're comfortable with. Why keep moving them out of there? If you have a really good setup man, leave him there. And, obviously Ryan Walker hasn't had the year that he wanted, but he was in the closer role for a bit. Now Camilo's back for the last, month or so. And, I still look at his Savant page. It's bright red. He's still in the upper percentile for a lot of categories. And this was a blip on the radar for him. I don't know if it's like, oh, why are we still pitching? We should have won the game. Like, I guess I'm going to go out here in the 10th. There's already a guy at second base. How much time is left on my pitch clock? Like, these are all the things that I think is going through Camilo's head when he's on the mound in this type of game. It's not a save opportunity. Even if I get the outs, the game's not over. So I feel like sometimes it's kind of like a fish out of water situation when it shouldn't be, but it kind of is sometimes.
Brooks, do you think he throws too many sliders? I thought today he did. I don't think he threw his fastball much at all, and he's got such a good fastball. He could blow people away anytime he wanted. I think he's just looking to hit that outside corner with that slider, and I keep going back to the 0-2 pitch to Otto Lopez. He threw the second one was a great slider, threw a nice sinker, had him 0-2, and he tried to make it a better slider, and he got the ball up, and he didn't get it on the outside corner, and Otto Lopez, a good contact hitter, and all he did was make contact, put it out to right center field.
Yeah, I think when you're getting in the bullpen, you're getting warmed up, you're getting loose, and you get out there on the mound, first batter, you right away, oh man, can't get my slider to go where I want it, or my fastball is just, how am I missing this badly? Come on. And I feel like maybe he abandons that whatever pitch he's kind of doesn't have all the way that night, maybe abandons it a little too early and goes, all right, no worries, I got other pitches I'll get him out with. That cutter is just absolutely what makes him extra special. Let's not overthink it. Just keep throwing it, and then if it requires a mound visit or two, just to be like, hey, let's go over this a little bit better. Let's you got this, whatever it is. Again, don't get beat on your second, third, fourth, whatever best pitch.
Every pitching coach tells you that, Brooks. That's what every pitching coach talks about is don't get beat with your secondary stuff. Brooks Knudsen on with me for a couple more minutes on Sports Phone KNBR. So now we got to turn the page and we look at Hayden Birdsong, and didn't pitch really well against the Red Sox his last outing, only going 4 1/3, giving up 4 earned runs. A few walks when you go back to the Braves series. Colorado, he was okay. Giving up more runs than we would normally see out of the young 23-year-old. What does he have to do tomorrow to kind of offset this Miami Marlin team?
I think he just needs to go out there and not think about these past 2 games, not worrying about, you got to be the stopper. It's like they had a nice series against the Red Sox, right? We want to make sure that's acknowledged. But they're in a stretch of, they've dropped 7 out of 10, right? It's, everyone's going to want to get that winning feeling going on the road to Chicago, which, should be an easier matchup for them. Softer part of the schedule, right? So Birdsong needs to just go out there and just get on the same game plan. I'm guessing he'll be with Kisner out there. I'm guessing day game after night game, right?
I would think so too.
Yeah, I would say, and just he needs to have that Birdsong kind of signature Giants moment that lately he's just kind of been towing. Getting a little bit better, kind of step forward, step back, step forward, step back. I want to see him, have one of those lights out type of games where he's just on a roll. Every pitch is hitting the spots. Guys are off balance.
Yeah, he dominates.
Yeah.
I always look at it the second time around. He's starting to fall into giving up hits and getting behind hitters. Usually in those middle innings, in that 4th and 5th inning, he's always struggled. And you just wonder, all of a sudden he just throws 4 straight pitches that aren't even strikes. And you're like, where did that come from? Or if he gets 2 quick outs, he walks a guy. Or he gives up 2 outs and he gives up 2 hits. It's just like he doesn't finish the inning. He doesn't put his stamp on the inning. And that's where he's gotten in trouble.
Yeah, I think he just needs to go out there and be like, I'm pitching at Oracle Park. This could be way worse. It could be at Coors Field right now. Like, I'm going to just, I'm going to go after these guys and I'm going to say, hit this. I'm sorry, but, it's the Miami Marlins. Let's count their all-stars this summer.
There you go.
Just go out there and just say, I own you. Just go on the mound and say, I completely own you. And don't go up there and be pitching scared and go, oh, gosh, well, what about last night? And, my last outing was this. And like, just flush all that and just get out there and go after these guys because you're going to have tougher outings.
Coach and you're a pitching coach and you don't even know it. You have those philosophies coming right out of you.
Yeah, rah, cheerleading. That's me on the mound going, you got this. I mean, I can't do it, but you can do it.
All right, Brooks. Well, thanks again for joining me. We'll definitely catch up with you next week, and down the road we'll have you on again. But good stuff as always, and thanks for staying up with me tonight.
Thanks, Bill. Likewise, and we'll see who's at third base tomorrow. I'm kind of curious. Wilmer,
right.
maybe? We'll see.
Maybe. We don't know. We'll find out. That's when it's going to start, right at 12:45. But, Brooks, thanks again for your time tonight. That was Brooks Knudsen. Follow him on the PPP podcast. Does a great job. And we're going to call it a night tonight. Tomorrow, first pitch right here, 12:45. We're going to see if Hayden Birdsong can put it together to get a W before the Giants hit the road for 3 in Chicago and 4 in Arizona. He's going up against Jansen Junk, a 29-year-old right-hander, 2-0, a 2.6 earned run average. Coming out of the bullpen the last couple of games, he's been pitching pretty well for the Miami Marlins, but we'll hear that tomorrow as Hayden Birdsong, 3-1 with a 3.2 earned run average, faces him first pitch right here on KNBR at 12:45. Join me on Friday. I'll do Sports Phone KNBR when the Giants travel to Chicago for the White Sox series, and extra inning post game will be on Saturday and Sunday following those games. Got a few guests lined up, some good ones you want to hear in and listen to the interviews. I want to thank the producer tonight, Jacob Villiante, David, and Cole for picking up the calls, cutting the post-game sound. I want to thank you fans calling in, some great calls tonight. Really flushed out a lot of the different theories and thoughts we had on what happened during the game, but it's always good to talk about it, and it's always a pleasure to have you call KNBR when I'm on or when other hosts on and talk about it. That's what sports talk is all about. For Bill Lasky, be safe, be well, have a great rest of the night, and we'll have more coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.